Hello, everybody. Welcome to something really weird for this channel. So this is a speed paint. I don't draw. I don't do art. I don't do this kind of content, and it's going to become very apparent that I'm very, very new to this. But right now, I wanted to make this video because I needed the specific art that is in the thumbnail, which, by the way, this is a speed paint of the thumbnail art. I'll probably put it up on screen here. I'll probably put like a little PNG of it over on the side. But I wanted to record the entire process of doing this because I came to kind of a realization about a lot of what I'm doing. And this realization happened a while ago, and I've been very slowly kind of changing my viewpoints on certain things and practicing how I view stuff. It's you know, changing your mindset is a very slow, arduous process. And that's kind of why I've been more radio silent this year than I would like to be. You know, I have so many ideas for videos, but I have a really, really bad habit, like every other artist, where they don't believe in the quality of their own work. And it's really frustrating to be in that position. And I before I started drawing this, I had the thought of like, well, I mean, I'm making this art not to be good. This is going to be a really strange thing for me to phrase. I'm not trying to be widely appealing. I'm not trying to be technically good. I'm not trying to be, you know, skillful. I'm just trying to capture a vibe. And that vibe is what I want to focus on. And you can see that with the fact that I switched to a 2010 camcorder as my main camera for a lot of things. If I'm recording B-roll, I'll use my cell phone camera. I'll use a higher quality camera. If it's something that I want to capture like specific detail on, that I'm like, you know, I'm fine with that. But if you're talking about A-roll where it's just me sitting and talking, it's that 2010 camcorder. And so what I'm doing with this is I'm drawing an MS Paint-esque quality thing, and you can see me messing around with the sensitivity on the fucking drawing pad that I'm using, because yeah, I'm using a drawing pad. And you can tell a lot of this is just me redoing lines over and over again. There's a good chunk of this video that I just kind of cut out because it's me like scribbling, where it's just scribbling out of frustration, where nothing's looking right, nothing is really coming together, and I'm just frustrated at my inability to be, you know? And this is a very new experience for me. Like, this is the first time I've drawn something for any of my projects. Like, I'll do little doodles occasionally for no reason, but I'm very much not an artist. And you can tell in the quality of my work, but again, it's not about being technically good, it's more about capturing a style and an aesthetic. And that's what I'm trying to do with this. And I'm using a lot of my knowledge of making thumbnails using Krita and stuff like that, along with a very aliased, like not smooth, not blended, like flat colors, flat shading. Like it just, I want to capture that kind of aesthetic. But I should talk about on the left side there, you can see the ref sheet for my character for the new mascot, and we can talk about that for a little bit. Yeah, so we're transitioning away from Bizmo as being the main icon of the channel, just because it's not really I always viewed Bizmo as a mascot, less a representation of me. And people would get that confused a lot. And that's fine. You know, a lot of people, when they have mascots for their channel, a lot of people will just kind of interpret that as to be an extension of the person creating the content. And even though I didn't intend for Bizmo to be a representation of myself, it ended up being that. And I still want to keep Bizmo around. He's not completely retired. He's not gone. Like, he still exists for the channel and everything. But this is just a more accurate representation of me. So myself and Bizmo can be separate characters in terms of art and representation of the channel and all that fun stuff. And this ref sheet right here was drawn by my sister Abby, who doesn't have social media and currently is not accepting requests. I apologize, or sorry, commissions. I apologize for that, because she is very good at what she does, because holy shit, this ref sheet is amazing. But yeah, unfortunately, she's not able to accept commissions at this time anyway. Hopefully that'll change in the future, but I can't guarantee anything. But yeah, we're transitioning to this new character, and I've already transitioned the majority of the art on the channels, on both of the channels, to be the new character, the me, right? My fucking quirky little circuitry ass motherfucker. Which let me talk about that. The inspiration behind this character is twofold. It's both supposed to be a play on Circuitry, the Pokemon, but then the silhouette and the vague shape of what he is very, very reminiscent of... I got the idea for the shape from Dracula from Hotel Transylvania, where sometimes when he walks, he just kind of becomes the silhouette of his cape and the rest of his body kind of disappears. And I wanted to sort of capture that in my character. But in doing so, you can see on the far left drawing, you can see me struggling drawing the arms. The arms are just bundles of wires that just come out and can kind of do whatever they want. And you could see me kind of struggling with how to represent the arm in terms of the soy jack point. And also earlier, you could tell that I was having trouble drawing a fucking square. So I'm just kind of taking this snippet of the ref sheet and just using that as like an idea of how to gauge the proportions of things, and how to make it look coherent enough. I'm not worried about having the lines be straight, clearly. But I just wanted to make sure I got the proportions and like the posing correct. And you can tell I'm not an artist, right? It's not something that I'm known for, you know, but I wanted to try doing it anyway, because I needed the art and I don't have any money, so I can't commission anyone. So I'm just going to do it myself, and we're just going to continue pushing for this but this like aesthetic of the channel where everything just kind of looks bad. And that's like the point of it, right? And I guess on that note, I can start talking about this. It's tricky because there's a lot of pressure when you make stuff, and all of that, well, for the majority of that pressure, it comes from within. So it's very, very difficult to like make that pressure stop, because it follows you, because you're giving yourself that pressure. So every waking moment, you're pressuring yourself into doing better, into doing more, into doing all this stuff. And it's crushing. It makes me, like, for me personally, I don't want to do anything because I'm so exhausted by just the thought of creating in general that it's scary. Like I don't have any drive left in anything that I do. And over this past year, I've been taking a lot of effort into lowering my standards in such a way where it still feels like I'm making something of value, but I'm easing the pressure on myself to be technically good. Like I said, with the 2010 camcorder, like I'm trying to capture an aesthetic here. I'm not trying to be perfect. And a lot of that realization has come from the recent growth of AI and AI generated images and stuff like that. So if there's one thing I can give to one positive thing I can give to the development of this AI technology is that it finally got me to realize that, oh yeah, it's okay if art sucks, because it's not supposed to be good. Art is supposed to be provocative. Art is supposed to give you some kind of feeling, whether that be, you know, a positive or a negative emotion. And when you see AI generated images or AI generated anything, it just lacks that, because it's not, none of that stuff is meant to be provocative. It's meant to be a replication of something that is deemed good, right? And those are completely different things. And you can tell, like, my straight lines and jagged edges and very aliased lines and the rough pixely nature of the drawings and everything. Like, this is not meant to be a technically good piece of work. It's just meant to be a representation of my channel and my aesthetic. And we're switching over to the new aesthetic, and we're trying something new here. And I'm not going to be drawing every single thumbnail I do, because this one piece took me like 2 fucking hours. And I do not want to put in that much effort for every video. That would already be setting myself up for something that, would kill my drive immediately again. So, but I think for the bigger videos, I think for the videos that I put a lot of time into and a lot of effort, I think I will draw a representation of myself for the thumbnail. I don't think I'm going to draw the whole thing, but stuff like this, where it's, a doodle of the new avatar, and it's, representative of the video itself and stuff like that. I think that, and then I edit it together with, everything else that I'm doing, which, by the way, if you can't tell, I'm using the application Krita. And I think Krita is pretty good. I cut my teeth on GIMP for the first few years of my Linux journey, but I'm transitioned over to Krita, and it's been pretty good, honestly. I've had a good time working with Krita, and I'm learning how everything works, and I'm learning all this different, like, art theory stuff. And that has been very interesting. It's been a very interesting development for me. God, what else can I talk about? I mean, just transitioning over with everything, and like I said, I don't want to completely abandon the original aesthetic. Like, obviously Bizmo is still going to be a part of the channel, and he's still going to make an appearance. He's still going to make appearances here and there, but just not going to be the whole aesthetic of the channel. You know what I mean? And you know what? I can talk about this, because this is just a video of me rambling incoherently into a microphone while you watch my creative process happen. I'm doing all this on Linux. So if you're coming into this channel because you like the doodle and you like speed painting and speed art kind of videos, this is all done on a Linux-based system. So if you're an artist and you just happen to be mulling over, like, you might have heard about Linux, or you might have been frustrated with Windows, and you're struggling to, you're wrestling with that choice of, like, do I want to switch over? Obviously, I can't give you words on whether or not you should, because that's ultimately a decision that you have to make. I can say that I've been enjoying my time with it, and the fact that I'm able to do, all of this stuff with the artistic side of things, and I'm able to do video editing and drawing and thumbnail design and all this stuff. Obviously it took me a while to learn how to do everything, but this video in and of itself is me learning how to do stuff. It kind of goes back to the, aversion or the hatred that I have with AI stuff, where it's just like, you need to enjoy the process of doing things, man. Speaking of processes, here's me trying to, like, understand ARM. So this is another thing that I kind of struggled with, where, like, I wanted to keep the same frame of the soy jack point, because obviously this is a reference to the soy jack point for the fucking thumbnails and everything. But then eventually, like, when I was, like, drawing lines and just making shapes happen, I was like, wait, I'm a spindly fucking wire creature now. It's like, I don't need to adhere to any rules about arms and structure and perspective and everything. I don't need to, like, look normal, because I'm not. I'm a fucking weird wire creature. So that's kind of eventually it just sort of was just like, yeah, let's make the arms really long. And I want to point out this fucking point right here. I noticed this, the very point of the finger, it looks like Jim Carrey's The Grinch. Like, it looks like a Jim Carrey Grinch finger. And I wish I could have kept that, but unfortunately I have to stay on model. And I have to make the fingers be, because I'm using my right hand in this pose. My right hand is composite cables. Yeah. So it's like one hand is component, one hand is composite, and there we go. I was looking for a reference picture, and I'm just going to basically trace over it, but it's like, you know, it's a technical thing. It's like tracing is whatever in this case. So, yeah, just setting up like posing how I want the fingers to look and how they're gonna look for the final thing, and then it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna trace over them and make them look like they fucking belong in there, right? So yeah, it's the very long and arduous artistic process. This piece took me 2 hours to finish, and there was a lot of stuff that I was that I basically had to learn on the spot. Like, I knew a little bit from doing the thumbnails and everything, but in terms of like the pressure sensitivity of the drawing pad I was using, which like, I don't even know what drawing pad I was using. It's just some Wacom thing. Wacom, I don't know. We got those years and years and years ago and have been rotting in a closet ever since. And I was like, you know what? Let's break it out and let's see what we can do, right? And I think this piece came out okay. You know, I think it fits the aesthetic that I'm going for, and I think that's like ultimately what's important. Is not that the art is good, but it is achieving what I want in terms of aesthetics. And it's a very new feeling for me to be satisfied with something that I've made. Well, not very new, but it's a relatively foreign feeling for me, because for so long I have been so frustrated with everything I had been making, and I only just now was like, oh wait, art's not supposed to be good. It's supposed to be provocative. It's supposed to be an aesthetic choice and everything, and that's what this is. That's kind of like what the point of this exercise is, where it's just like, hey man, if you learn anything from these past few years of tech and worldly events, like, AI proves to us that there is an innate want. How am I going to phrase this? There is an innate value to art, even if it is quote unquote low quality. Making something badly in earnest is still more interesting and still more thought-provoking and more human than if you were to make something good. And that's kind of, you know, that's just that's what I'm going for, man. I want to be earnest now. I don't want to like hide that. It's like, this is what I like. Like, this kind of like shitty early 2000s aesthetic is like what I like, you know? And I think at this point is where I decided, like, yeah, this piece is finished. And I think I'm organizing stuff on the right side, and now I get to turn this into a thumbnail for this exact video. So you get to see a little bit of that process, where I basically just got it streamlined to this point where I know exactly how I want my thumbnails to look for the most part. And so that's what the drawing is. The drawing is supposed to be a template for me to just put on future thumbnails. So you'll be seeing a lot more of him in the future and a lot more shitty drawings like these in the thumbnails. So yeah, I mean, that's all I gotta say. It's a process, and the process is important. So go out there and make something, even if you think it's not good, you know? All right, have a good one, everybody.